Welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. This is a show where we talk about stuff, play you some music, and encourage you to be creative. This season, we are exploring the art of being human. We want to say thank you to our patrons who support us each month. If you want to know more about that, visit us on patreon.com/chasingebenezer. For more information about our musical endeavors, visit chasingebenezer.com. We hope you enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Chasing Ebenezer show. I'm Benjamin and this is Heidi, and we are continuing to talk about being human. We might talk forever about being human because being human is
kind of the status quo.
It's the status quo right now. Yeah. I want to say thank you to our patrons who have been supporting us each month.
Some of you have upped your giving.
I know.
Thank
that
you.
Was so, just makes us feel so encouraged. We love you very, very, very much.
And as soon as this voice, it all went downhill since the last episode.
We've been sick for
I've been
a
to
while.
urgent care. So as soon as this voice is capable, we just have one vocal to track, and then we will get our single mastered and out to you.
Yes.
Which is hopefully this month.
Yes, hopefully.
But
that's the plan. That's our
this
plan.
voice is not what it should be. So
yeah. So I'm excited about a few things. Okay, so I'm gonna.
You look very excited.
Okay, so I am about to finish a book, and I'm always excited when I finish a book. I have been reading Jayber Crow by Wendell Berry.
Yeah, it's a great book.
It is probably one of the best novels I've read. It's in my top 10. It's a different kind of novel for me because
it's not an action thriller.
No, it is not. It is not an action thriller.
It's an experience. It's very poetic.
Very poetic, very character driven, and it's slow. So it took me a while, but it's very rewarding. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm equally excited to start a new book. You got me this for Christmas.
You're welcome.
The third book in the Wheel of Time series, which I will probably be in until I am 50. Because
probably. I mean, they're long.
That's how these books work. But just very excited about that. And I started yesterday. I'm in a men's group, and we're doing a storytelling kind of, I don't know whether it's practice or learning. And so I'm learning how to be a better storyteller. And that was just I almost didn't go to the class yesterday, but I went.
I said, why? Why aren't you going to take this class?
And I did. And it was so rewarding. It was so good. So I'm really excited to be doing that as well. So I had a lot of things to be excited about today. What about you?
I'm excited about antibiotics and how effective they can be when taken correctly as prescribed by your doctor.
Yeah?
I don't like taking medication.
No, she argues with me.
I hate taking medication. But when the doctor says you're supposed to, then it's generally recommended. So I feel...
When your husband says that you should, it's debatable.
Yeah, you made me call.
I did.
And I guess you were right, because they said you need to go to urgent care. So I'm excited when medical things have a clear answer and a clear solution, and they work. That's a win.
That is a big win.
So I'm excited about that, and I am excited because next week, I think my niece and I are going to go out for a little coffee shop date.
Oh, fun.
We have fun together. She's one of my favorite people. So I always get excited to do fun things with her.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, talking about being sick, I felt my humanity. I am still feeling my humanity this week because we've been sick for a couple of weeks with just colds and sinus infections and all that fun stuff, and I am just flat out tired today.
You could take a nap if you'd like.
I could.
I'll just talk the rest of the show while you sleep.
That ain't gonna happen. But that's kind of where I'm probably feeling that a little bit more.
Well, that was also mine. You took mine.
We can share our humanity. It's fine.
Nope, it's my own humanity.
Okay, your own
nope,
humanity.
You can't share my humanity. So,
Yeah.
something. I guess it's humanity. But last night our friends Gail and Terry had us over for dinner, and I was just reminded just what an important and valuable part of life it is to sit and fellowship, that you're not having a meeting, there's nothing you're planning, you're just sitting and being. And so being hosted, and Gail made some amazing pumpkin cake.
It was so
I
good.
have to say.
It was so good.
So just that beautiful part of being human, of just sitting, and they speak French, so hearing them talk French was really cool. So just one of those beautiful parts of life that, especially like you and I work so many evenings.
Yeah.
So just once in a while when we have an evening, and it was just really nice. So I'm really grateful for that.
We know some pretty amazing people.
Like you.
Yeah, like you. So last episode we talked about learning. And
lifelong learners.
Lifelong learners, yep. I actually learned that phrase from Terry, who we hung out with
Terry?
last night. Today,
pumpkin cake and lifelong learner.
Today we're going to be talking about teaching as it pertains to being human. So here we go. So thinking about teaching, last Saturday, one of the churches I'm at, we had one of my friends, Lorene, do a workshop on collages. And so this is what I made as a result.
Is that your girlfriend?
I don't know what this is. No, she's not my girlfriend. But it was a fun process. And she did such a good job. Because what I liked about Lorene teaching, because sometimes like teachers are like, give you all these like really specific detailed instructions. What Lorene did was she kind of gave some examples, and she had a bunch of materials and invited us just to go play. And it was really fun to see everybody. There was like different ages represented there. Just play and discover. And she kind of just moved around and was there. And she, one of the things I really appreciated, because I don't consider myself a super talented visual artist. I'm learning, and I'm okay with that. But she would come by and she's like, "Oh, that looks so good." Oh, she was like the Mr. Rogers of collaging. It was wonderful, but it was a really good teaching experience for me, and learning experience for me. And it was really fun to watch her teach and share her gifting, which is really what teaching is.
Yeah, sharing what you're passionate about. A great book to kind of go along as a encouragement with this episode is Talk Like Ted.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a book that basically goes through the most popular TED Talks and explains why they resonate so much with people. Because that's what they're teaching us. And one of the most dynamic things is when people are just passionate about what they do. And so that's a great resource to kind of read, and it gives you different TED Talks to watch that show different attributes of what each chapter is talking about. So I think that's something that a lot of times when I've struggled as a teacher, it's when I'm not confident in what I'm doing. I feel like, what an idiot. Like, why am I doing this? What do I have to share? Someone else could be doing this way better, and I'm a big fraud, and I'm an imposter. And so I think a lot of teaching is just acknowledging that you don't know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you're simply available to share what you do know and what you care about, and then be receptive. If you teach it wrong, oh man, like that's kind of the fear is, What if I teach it wrong? Then you apologize.
Yep.
And you may try to make it right. So I think teaching really is being passionate about what you do, sharing it with someone else, encouraging them and helping them become passionate as well about it. Or find out that they're not passionate about it. That can also happen.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, and I think that teaching can kind of be our cat, sorry. That was the
Disregard
moment of
the-
punky. Teaching can be a passive thing too, because like if you're in a relationship with somebody else, they're rubbing off on you.
Yeah, for
in some way.
sure.
Like you learn to talk simply by being around other people that are talking. So it's the same kind of thing. So like, yeah. So you're teaching. You're a teacher whether you want to be or not. It's just that way. So do you remember maybe your first experience like officially teaching something, and what was that like for you? Or maybe an early experience, maybe not the first one.
Yeah. Oh, I remembered and then I forgot. Oh, I remember is when I was a teenager, I became a choir director.
Really?
I sure did, of a small choir group.
How did that go?
You know, they sounded great, not necessarily because I did anything, but the hardest thing for me, it was like,
Oh, the directing.
the directing, you know, making sure, and then, but I really, like, come a little more here, a little more here.
I could see
Because
you being
my
a good choir
music
director.
theory is not super vast, but my attention to dynamics and passion and energy is totally there.
Yeah, I
had this weird enjoyment of it. It was really I didn't do it for a very long time, but it was fun. So I remember I liked to give the instructions like you do.
So you liked ordering people around. That was what
encouraging them to let out their voice. That is not ordering people around you. Rude.
And, I mean, I know I taught earlier than this, but a memory that comes to mind is when it was about, I don't know, 15, well, longer than that. It was a long time ago. I remember being in a suit and teaching children's church, which I am not gifted in kids instruction.
See, I disagree with you because you're a wonderful ukulele teacher. I
I've
hear
learned,
you.
and my student has taught me to be a good kids teacher. So, but I was teaching. It was old school. Like we had the flannel graph. If you grew up in like old church, you know what that is. And I remember standing over in my suit.
You're in your
with
suit.
like 3 or 4 year olds looking up at me,
him,
and talking about mentioning global warming, which back then it was a long time ago.
It wasn't as popular conversation
and realizing,
topics and
being gently reminded by this one that I'm like,
Ben,
you're talking to them like they're adults.
They're like 4, and you're like talking to them in this adult language.
So
it was really funny. It was really funny. I was like, you gotta simplify it a little bit.
But like but fast forwarding now to like teaching ukulele and teaching my student who it's super fun. I teach her on Zoom every week. I learn more by teaching someone of a different age group because I have to really think through how to explain it in a way that isn't confusing, which makes me actually have to break it down in my own head. So you really learn a lot by teaching.
Yeah, the hardest thing for me in sheet music is rhythm. It's just and time signatures. It's so difficult for me. And so sometimes I'll play something and then a student might ask me like about how to count it out or about how I played it. And then I start maybe I played it wrong. Maybe I played it wrong. And then when I have to sit and like actually figure out and explain what I did and why I did, because a lot of times we've learned things, we
do
pick
things
them up,
intuitively.
we just do them,
yeah.
But then we don't know why we're doing them. And there generally is a math or a science behind it. But then to try to explain it, or if you don't know why. So I've had to come to the place where I'm just okay with like, let me think that through. I tell my students that time signatures are my weakest point anyway. Like so they know that like creativity and improv is my strength.
It is big time her strength.
But it's still important to learn the discipline of the sheet music and the theory and the time signatures. But just being okay, like, oh, wait a second, maybe I counted that wrong. So I feel it, man. I just feel it.
You just feel it. You just do it.
I just do it.
Yeah. So like teaching helps you realize what you know
don't know
and what you don't know.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I started teaching guitar lessons a couple years ago, my first student was asking me all these questions about scales. Okay, I'm in my 30s. I've been playing guitar for a long time, but I never really bothered with scales.
Who cares about
Didn't know very
scales?
much. And, I try to give my best BS answer to what I thought it was. And then I realized, I need to learn this. And then I started learning scales and learning music theory. And it was, for me, if I had started with learning music theory, I would have hated music. But now that I had a love for it and I was teaching myself how to do music theory, I could do everything on purpose now.
Yeah.
So now
yeah.
I totally geek out over music theory and love it. So thank you, Heath, for being my first student to teach me that I needed to learn scales.
So it sounds like, especially if you're teaching something, there's got to be a balance of the theory of the craft, and there's got to be a creativity and a joy and a
Yes.
play in it,
It's both.
because they go together. Yeah.
Yeah, structure and play. All
Crying.
goes together. Crying, well, it's only if it's you. Yeah.
I frequently cry over art and things like that. Especially if I can't get it right. And I'm your only student thus far who is
So
crying.
far,
And it's
so
been
far.
a long time. It's been
Yeah.
years since I cried.
Well,
over
we
a
haven't
lesson.
had a guitar capo talk in a long time, so
Guitar
that's
capo.
what did it.
Some people think it's really easy to understand.
It's confusing. I get it. I understand now that it's confusing.
Well, and a lot of times too, with teaching, learning, once someone gets it, then they generally don't, they get it. But sometimes it's the getting it
Yeah,
that can take
breaking through that.
forever. And so I try to really, I try to watch people's faces when I'm teaching something and look for the look of confusion and glaze and or I'll try to ask, did I confuse you with what I just said? And sometimes they'll say, yeah, I'm totally confused. And sometimes no. So it's a scary question to ask.
It is.
Did I confuse you? But did I make sense? So if you ask the question, be prepared to be told, yeah, you confused me, or you didn't, I don't understand what you said.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's okay.
So why is teaching important to being human?
Well, if no one ever teaches or learns anything, then everyone's always starting over at the beginning.
Well, I think that's the right answer.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
but, if part of being human is not just, what's the word?
I don't know. I can't discern
What's
the
the
fingers.
word? Oh man. It's like when something's only used for purposes like essential, like
Utilitarian?
Yes. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Because being human is not just utilitarian.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we're body, we're emotions, we're a soul, and so part of what feeds our soul and our emotions and our growth is teaching and learning. And so we're not just utilitarian. That was the word. I'm saying it again so I don't forget. A little aside last night, I embarrassed myself many times at dinner.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're gonna say.
With forgetting stupid facts. We were talking about war movies and shows. I said, well, there weren't really any wars in the
Between
40s
1940s and 50s, I'm like, wait a minute. No. There was kind of a big one. A couple of them, actually.
I've been so focused in studying World War I that I failed to remember that World War II was in the 40s momentarily. But I laughed at myself. Ha ha ha.
So did we.
So teachers, learn to laugh at laugh at yourself. Utilitarian. Okay.
Well, and I
what do
think
you
I think another reason is that, well, one, if we don't pass things on, society can collapse.
die.
I mean, that's the thing. So, I mean, not just starting over, society collapses, and people don't get to innovate on top of what you've learned. So you're always like, there's no advances in science, no advances in math. So we have to continue to intentionally pass things on to other people.
Yeah, I mean, I hope my violin students surpass me in how well they can play.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I mean, that's my goal.
Absolutely.
Is that you should be a better violin player as you age than I am.
Well, and it's recognizing that every generation has a contribution to make in science, in art, in music, in all of the things.
Yeah, for sure.
So why do you think teaching is essential to creativity? Like, why is that? I know that's probably a dumb question. It's probably the same thing. But like, why is the act of teaching effective for somebody's creative process?
Well, because then, like we were talking about earlier, when you start to teach, you start actually to think through why you do what you do or how things work. And then that spurs on other creative projects for me. I'm sorry, I don't have an example right now. But I know when I start, like with improving, when I started teaching how to improv and would come up with practical ways to do that or creative ways, then I had to actually think through some specific ideas or exercises. And then I started using some of those own exercises myself. So that I wasn't necessarily using them before, but if you're going to teach, it is good to have some practical prompts and exercises. So, and I think that teaching it excites, it excites you when someone, when that aha moment, which then makes you want to do it more. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's kind of like a fuel.
Mm-hmm. Like it feeds into things.
Yeah, that's what it does.
Yeah. Well, I think teaching is also really important because a student might ask you a question that you've never asked yourself before.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which then makes you learn. So it's basically what you said.
Yeah, well, like sometimes students will ask me about a song that I've never heard of before. Like, hey, can I learn the song? So then I have to go learn the song, and I have to go analyze a bit of it myself. So I'm learning, but then I'm teaching it to them. So yeah, it's just like a constant give and take. It's an ebb and flow that just keeps building and building. And
well, and I think that just to encompass it all together, teaching creates relationships.
True,
it creates community,
absolutely, which is essential.
Whether you're in a group learning together with somebody or you've got that teacher-student relationship, that it just fosters such a lifelong friendship that can happen there as well.
Yeah, and one way that, especially if you're kind of nervous and you wouldn't say you'd feel comfortable like teaching a class, for example, I was part of a writer's critique group for we met for a couple years, and so everyone was teaching in that class because they would read your manuscript and then offer their feedback, their response. And so that was a form of teaching where it's not like anyone was teaching a class or anything like that, but by sharing their response and their suggestions, they were teaching. So that's a way to teach and to share and to grow if you're not super comfortable thinking, I can go teach a writing class or whatever. So critique groups can be their own form of way of building community and getting to like know different artists of whatever your genre of art is. But then you're also teaching and learning together. So
it's good.
Yeah.
Well, that was going to be my next question is when do you know that you're ready to teach something? I have an answer, but
well, that's a great question because generally people were extremes. Very few of us are balanced people. Generally, people tend to not feel ready when they are capable. And then sometimes people want to teach who are not ready or adept at maybe the area that they think they are or the group dynamics they are. So we tend to struggle on two extremes.
Yeah, that's true.
So, we all have had that college professor who were thinking, how on earth did you get this job? So just because you're knowledgeable on a topic doesn't mean you should be teaching a college classroom, but that doesn't mean you have nothing to offer or to teach. So I think when we view teaching, we maybe have our own preconceived idea of what that means.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's probably the first question is like, what do you mean by teaching?
What do you mean by teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say when you're asked. Because if someone asks you to teach something, that means that they probably see something in you that you have to offer.
That's true. Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean that you're an expert. You see, and this is where I think that the rub comes in.
Expert versus teacher.
Expert and teacher are not the same thing.
Yeah.
If I can maybe liberate us all.
No expert.
We're not
experts. Except at being human.
We're really good at that.
Certified human.
Instead of, if you could think of teaching as sharing instead of dictating.
Yeah.
I think that would be a huge shift because everybody's got, like you said, everybody's got something to share, something to offer.
What's that? Oh, forklift. Isn't that thing you used to drive?
Yes.
This might be a really bad analogy. But I was like watching.
Well, because you've never driven one.
No, I don't want to drive one.
And I don't think you've seen me drive one.
I heard about it.
Oh, you heard about it.
But I've seen forklifts.
Yeah.
You know, the image of like offering and then lifting up.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, okay.
Anyway. Be a forklift.
Be a forklift. Okay. I think that summed it up pretty well.
Did you learn something there?
I sure
about
did.
the weirdo you're married to.
Oh, you're only a little.
But anyway, yeah, sharing, and then you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Okay, you got the analogy.
I did. It was great.
It wasn't the greatest analogy on earth.
I loved it. Yeah. So
ho, ho, ho.
So pay attention to those that are watching you, that want to learn something from you. And some people might be learning something from you already. I remember, there was a person that used to play with us, and they played a different instrument, but they played alongside me a long time, and then they started playing guitar. And I never gave this person a formal lesson, but then they started posting stuff on social media, and I was watching them play guitar, and I'm like, they're playing like me a little bit. And
I think I play like you a little bit when I strum.
That made me feel good because it was like, oh wow, I influenced this person. I never taught a lesson.
No, we all just watch you. You're the foot stomper.
I know.
I have your stompy foot.
I know.
Yeah.
I have a lot of weird tics when I play music.
You don't do the rem eyes anymore.
I don't do the zombie look anymore.
Do you want to demonstrate what you used to do?
Yeah. It was bad.
You used to. Bad. Yeah, that's all right.
So I think everybody's got something to offer. Everybody's got something to share. So to be yourself that way. What are some prompts or a prompt of some sort that we can do for teaching?
Well, you could teach something.
Hey, there you go.
I mean, if there's somewhere, that's looking for like volunteer art at a preschool or a senior center or anywhere, if you see something, if you know how to do, it doesn't even mean you have to know like how to do all the things. It could just be, how to cook one thing really well.
Yeah.
Just one thing. You could do in your neighborhood. Let's say you cook amazing curry. Just invite your neighbors.
Invite us over.
Invite us over. I'll come over and learn how to make curry because I don't make good curry.
It's pretty good.
What I make is not really curry.
Fair enough.
I get takeout if I want real curry. So maybe that's something. Maybe you're going to do some yard work as the weather's getting nicer, and you do that really well. So maybe there's someone who is not good at yard work like me. Would you like to come and join me? Because I think teaching too is sometimes if you say to someone, to say, hey, I'd like to teach you how to do this, it can kind of be
a little presumptuous.
But hey, would you like to join me? And then it can become obvious what you might have to share and what they might have to share. So joining me. But yeah, if in your neighborhood, anything that your family does, and you can just like show them how to do it. Like, come join us for making these awesome cookies that we love. I don't know. Yeah. You get the idea. You're smart people. You could watch a movie that has an awesome teacher in it.
It's true.
Or a terribly terrible teacher in it. Or watch one of each. What?
I just immediately thought of Whiplash.
Oh.
That's
Oh, that was intense.
That's such a it's
Oh,
it's a
man.
fantastic
Oh man,
and
It's very
uncomfortable.
stressful.
It's so uncomfortable,
It's very
but it's
stressful.
definitely a good movie.
Very
That was just
stressful.
immediately what came to
You
mind.
love stress.
I do. I love
yeah,
stressful
yeah.
things. It relaxes me, which is weird.
I don't know what we said last time because I don't ever remember what I say. But if you have someone who's taught you something in your life that you really, really value and appreciate, write them a note
Let
or
them know
just
that
send
you
them a message.
appreciate it.
Yeah, let them know.
Yeah,
And just know that you have something to share.
you do. You do. So the song that we're going to do is we're going to do an instrumental version of a song I wrote for you when we first started dating.
Back in the
day.
days.
Back in the day.
Olden times.
It's called February 14th. And patrons, this will be the demo for the month, which I'll be recording it, and it'll have lyrics and singing. But we're going to do the instrumental version because, let's be honest, we all want to hear her play violin.
Oh, well, no. I was thinking maybe you weren't feeling vocally up.
Also
Good.
that, but
Okay.
I wanted to put a positive
Oh, put a
spin on it.
positive. Yes.
Put a positive spin. Anyway.
I will play violin for you. If you'd like to learn violin, I will teach you.
So you can do that.
So you can be a crooked person.
All right. Well, anyway, we'll be back soon with a new episode. And until then, keep creating, and we'll see you soon. Bye.